And once again, if it was denied and they were only able to build two, then there's a possibility that, that they would use that property for commercial. And there's also a possibility that they go ahead and build on what they could and just encompass everything.
Okay. All I'm asking here is the house next, or the house that would be built right on the corner of Main and 25th, if that would be taken out of the equation, so now there could be three built there, that would leave the frontage
I see what you're saying. I see.
on it.
Okay. So you're basically, I mean, and it doesn't, it's not a bad compromise. I hear what you're saying. You're saying that basically you'd be in favor of allowing for three, but not for four.
Correct.
Okay.
But the three being,
The lots 51A, 51A2, and 51A3.
not four.
Not four.
Well, you would still have to replat it into four.
Right.
And then you would have to basically go ask the home builder, hey, do you mind not building a house right there? That's pretty much all we can do, is ask. Because he owns it. If we replat it, it's gonna be four. And home builders are gonna build four. But I mean, you could ask them, but they're not here. But that's
Okay,
not.
Can we table it then? So we can get some clarification from there.
I find it very difficult that you're going to ask someone to do something different with the property that they own. That's my opinion. Again, the replat is what's on the table. That's to divide it into four.
Okay.
Does Amberlin Homes own that property?
Guess how much we did. They have done it in order to apply for the replat.
So if you ask them, if you say we deny the replat, and you tell them you don't want to have the fourth lot, and they come for a replat for three lots, and they bring it all the way to the corner, I don't think we can as a city put a restriction on what goes on the property. So it's either we give him the four lots, or we deny the four lots, and he brings it back with something, some other.
And I'm,
Which I would be willing to say, he'll turn it into three lots and still come to the court with the third one, and just make them bigger instead of get the fourth house in there, because he's gonna build. He's built everywhere he's bought property and road. I agree with what you're saying, it's commercial property.
okay, and I understand what you are saying, and I'm just looking at trying to maximize the area on Main that would maintain it to be open for future development.
Business.
For business. Yes.
After those four, that you know, they've already got the woodwork, wood stuff up there, the four, they've already got the four little houses, outlines of the houses, that portion that's left doesn't seem like it's big enough to fit anything business or
No,
commercial.
but in the replat, they draw it, they cut that, they had a, what was it, there was something on the replat that they had to redo to equalize all four lots and do away with a dead little piece of property that was exactly on the corner. They incorporated it and made the lots all bigger. I think what really, I don't know, it's on this subject, what would probably would be, the structure of our commercial, ordinances. You know, commercial ordinance needs to be restructured for certain things.
Okay.
But you can't stop anybody from building a house on commercial property no matter what. And that's just, it is what it is.
As long as it's city.
You can build, you can build, I think you can build a house on C3 if you want to. You can build on any piece of property you want. Anything. It don't matter what it's on. What I mean by that is, yes, it matters what it's on, but if If it's zoned any commercial, you can build any house on it, as long as it meets the requirements of that ordinance.
Okay.
So do I need to address this, ask for a table?
No. No.
Yes, it wasn't a motion, I just want to make sure that we,
No, I guess you'd move the table first.
okay,
Vote on that first, and then go back to the
okay. Was that a motion to table?
No.
Okay. Do we have a motion and a second on the floor? Any more questions?
I'm wondering about the ordinance that goes with this. Can you get it emailed to us?
On what can be put on C2?
Yes,
Sure. Be happy to.
sure.
Any other questions? So we motion and a second on the floor to consider the approval of the replat of property tracts 51A in the Pearl Gardens edition. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Baden.
Aye.
Councilmember Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver. Motion approved. Item 6C will be consider awarding the bid for the Bay Street and Woodlawn Drive concrete ribbon replacement.
Can we check to see if Jeremy is here, one of our engineers? Yeah. If you ask him, if you wouldn't mind. You remember Jeremy? Jeremy is the South Texas engineer.
Welcome, Jeremy.
Jeremy, would you mind just kind of going over what the process was? And I believe the council still wants to consider the monolithic versus the non-monolithic.
Kurt, when we talked about, I'm sorry.
I apologize ahead of time, I don't have any of my paperwork with all the breakdown, but I'm getting into it.
You want to borrow one?
No, that's fine. I'll answer that if I can. So we went out for bids, we got good response, we had, I think, 4 bids come in. The lowest bidder was Greenscape 6. The way that we organized the bid was the base bid was to use a curved machine. The alternate would have been to pour it by hand. And so, of course, when we looked at the numbers, it was a lot cheaper to use the curved machine.
If I'm not mistaken, just to inform the new council, that, using the curved machine, of course, was tied to the ribbon, tied to the base ribbon that's there, right?
So yes, what the project was is, there's an asphalt road that had concrete ribbon, it's kind of like a concrete curb. And so what the question came up last time was how we were going to construct it. So they make a machine that you set up a rig and it has a template and it pours the concrete and the rebar and everything at once. So it's faster, typically, it's meant to do what it's doing. So there's usually a cost savings and they make a point that with it being one pour, it can be a stronger cross section. So at the last council, they had asked us to make sure that that was considered as part of the pricing for the bids, and we did. That was our initial base bid, and then we put an alternate in there to basically say, okay, now that this is what we're looking at, if there's another methodology that you guys want to do that the performance is there, you can do that, which would be to hand form it and hand pour it. But every time we looked at every bid, they were all higher.
I just wanted that to be explained, because I want to hear.
Right, and that makes it stronger?
It's not astronomically stronger, but it relatively speaking, yes, it can provide a much better section. Yes, ma'am.
Because it usually, Rhonda, what it does is it pours together a longer stretch of curve than it would be. You know, they say they did 50 feet by hand today, they did 100 feet by curve, by the machine, I'm sorry.
Okay. And the curbs will be 6 to 8 inches high?
Oh, that was something, yeah,
Okay. So when you're going down a residential neighborhood or into a parking lot, they're usually 6 inches tall by 6 inches wide. It's going to look like a typical residential curb.
Okay.
And you'll see the curb, and then you'll see another foot coming out of concrete, and there'll be a nice curved ribbon, and then the city will come back at a later date and asphalt up to that.
Okay.
But part of the project is, you know, we have trees out there, you have a lot of years on this, and you have failure on the side, so just as much as the concrete's important, the portion underneath is important. So what we're doing is we're reworking that bottom piece under it to give it a nice place to put the curb on. So think of it as like a house. The curb is the pretty house that sits on top of it, but it's only as good as the foundation, so that piece that we're gonna correct underneath it will give it what it needs to give you, hopefully another 50, 75 years out of it, as long as it's taken care of and it works.
I did have a question, Jeremy. I read in the bid package that, something about the root, what does it say? Where's that other one? The root,
Root barrier?
root barrier, what is,
Okay, so when we've done projects like this for other cities, and you're in old neighborhoods that are mature, sometimes we recommend going in there and putting a root barrier in there to stop any more roots from getting under there and causing problems. You know, you don't, a lot of times your drainage will be a heave in that curve where the water can't get over it. So the part of the root barrier is to try to stop it and secure it and give some more life to that. And I personally would recommend exercising that option, even if we don't use all of it.
I guess it's a form of, some type of concrete structure for there.
It's not a concrete structure, it's kind of like a, I think well, I lost the words. It's a product that basically goes through there and does, like you're saying, in blocks. And it comes down and it's a plastic based product. Yeah.
So there's a physical barrier.
It's a physical barrier. Kind of like if you're, again, going back to building a house.
I'm familiar with what you're talking about, but what you're saying is it's a physical barrier.
Physical barrier.
Right. So the roots come to it.
Right, and go down to, I did my house.
And that's the best place to, is like if you're building a new house, put it around it so that
Well, I
doesn't.
did it on my job. I just poured a 10-inch beam with 3 rods in it. Made the roots go other way.
That'll do the job too.
I just want to get that, I knew she had, Mr. Dugas had asked me. I want to get it clarified. Thank you very much.
We'll ask for a motion in a second, we'll go into questions.
I'll make a motion that we accept the award of bid to the Bay Street Woodlawn Drive concrete driven replacement to Greenscape 6 LLC for $144,598 for Woodlawn and $126,626 for Bay Street.
A second.
Have a motion and a second to award the bid for the Bay Street and Woodlawn Concrete Drive to Greenscape 6 LLC. Do you have any questions?
I do have one more. What's the, dividing the weather, what's the time frame?
I think they did 30 days for each project.
Really?
What's the start date?
After we, if this passes,
30
then we'll go ahead
days.
and establish that.
Ooh, I'm gonna go on some.
I do have a question. D, in the budget that we have budgeted for this, does this fall within our range?
Yes, sir. We have $800,000 budgeted for street and curb work. So this came in much better than we anticipated.
So we did not put in our motion for the root barrier addition for the alternate,
Okay.
which is an extra $10,320 for Bay and $10,050 for Woodlawn.
That still brings it well within what we felt what you felt was going to be able to.
Do we need to amend it to
No,
include
what you can
those?
do is just a change order. Yeah, we'll just do a change order.
Okay, will that come back to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That makes sense. You said 4, there's only 3 here. Did you drop the highest one or something?
I don't have any of my paperwork in front of me, and I had a list of 6 or 7, I
Okay,
couldn't remember. So it might be.
okay.
Do you know anything about this company? I went on their website today and I went on their Facebook page. And I know that they worked with Plano on an $8 million project.
I have had experience with them in the past. Our firms, we do work with the city of Port Arthur on an ongoing basis, and I know that they have a contract with the city of Port Arthur to do spot repairs throughout the city, curbs, gutters, and stuff like that. Also, I did a capital improvement project with them where they were awarded over off of Gulfway Drive, it was called Carolina. They performed that in time and under budget.
Have they ever done work for us before?
Nothing I know.
I think they're based out of the Houston area. They originated as a golf course builder,
Yes,
high-end golf course, and then they started getting into municipal projects.
yeah, they have a lot of pictures on their Facebook page of golf courses and things like that.
Any questions? Any other questions? 30 days, huh? Okay. Have a motion and a second for the approval to award the bid for the Bay and Woodlawn Drive to Greenscapes 6 LLC. On the vote, Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Baden.
Aye.
Councilmember Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Item 7A will be to consider the appointment to fill the vacancy in the Ward Number 1 councilmember position. City Attorney? Oh, it's under yours.
It's under mine, and I don't really know why, Mayor. This is what it was.
All right,
It has been in the past on the last one.
I
okay.
have to do whatever I need to do. I think the mayor can handle it.
At the last meeting, we interviewed 2 prospective candidates for the vacant position for Ward Number 1 council member position. So we need a motion and a second.
I make a motion that we accept Mark McAdams' intent.
I second.
Have a motion and a second to approve Mark McAdams as the appointment for Ward 1 council member. Do I have any questions?
When would this take back?
Today?
Immediately?
Next, well, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
technically next meeting. Any questions? Okay, we'll take a vote. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Baden.
Aye.
Councilmember Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Oliver.
Aye.
Motion passes for the approval and acceptance of Mark McAdams as the Ward 1 council member. Item 8A, invoices, city manager.
Mayor and council, the invoice approval list for December 7th, 2020 is as follows. Brentag, polymer for water treatment, $26,400. Frakes Construction, paying of the water plant, TPC explosion repairs, $9,560. Hatch, replacement of parts for the pouring system at the water plant required by the TCEQ, $9,122.40. Republic Services, commercial solid waste collection for October and November, $9,839.60. South Surveyors, engineering curb specs for Bay, engineering curb specs for Woodlawn, for a total of $18,689. Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, the water system fee, $18,027.10, for a total of $91,638.10.
I make a motion that we accept we pay our city bills for December 7th, 2020, in the amount of $91,638.10.
So motion, do I have a second? You got a second? Say second. Have a motion and a second for the approval of the invoice list for December 7th in the amount of $91,638.10. Do I have any questions?
Yeah, D on the Frank's Construction, the painting of the water plant. Did we receive that payment? Did we receive any money from TPC on that?
I believe we have our insurance cover it, and then they're going to subrogate to PPC.
Just make sure we have it. That's all I have.
And TPC's gonna do what now?
Our insurance will subrogate, they'll go after TPC since they're the person, they caused the problem.
Yeah.
So we need to get it repaired. Instead of fighting the TPC, we just said, okay, our insurance will cover it, then our insurance will go and settle up with TPC.
May I ask what the polymer is for the water? treatment?
Sure, a polymer is a way to coagulate and get suspended solids out of our water. We get our water from the LMVA canal, and it is good water, but it's got a lot of suspended solids. The polymer is a catalyst that basically coagulates the solids, makes them drop to the bottom, and then that way we get basically the right turbidity for our water. So the polymer is an aid in the treatment process.
And then the water is filtered?
Oh, definitely, yes, ma'am. Filtered and chlorinated.
Rhonda needs to take you need to take the water plant tour.
I do.
You really do, it's fascinating, it really is fascinating.
Any other questions? Being none, we'll take the vote. Mayor votes aye. Mayor Pro Tem Baden.
Ah,
Councilmember Dugas.
Aye.
Councilmember Olive. Invoices are approved. Item 9, council member comments. I would like to thank both of the applicants for your consideration for this appointment. And then I would also like to welcome Mark to the council. Mr. McAdams, you got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
Any other comments from council members? Being none, we adjourn at 5:44.
Take a bathroom break and then we'll have a review